In the 1980s, cocaine had become the party drug of choice in society. The NBA already had a rampant drug issue in the 70s, and the early 80s was no different. This damaged the reputation of the league as a large number of players were using drugs habitually. In 1984, new NBA Commissioner David Stern implemented a new substance abuse policy to combat this problem and clean up the image of the NBA, creating a three-strike policy that would lead to a permanent ban. Today, we'll talk about the first player to succumb to this policy, John Drew, someone who had already established himself as a top player in the league, but was overcome by addiction. This is PZ Hoops here, and let's get down to it. John Drew was born on September 30th, 1954 in Vredenburg, Alabama. John, a 6'6", 200-pound small forward, quickly became a high school legend in Alabama during his time at J.F. Shields High School. He averaged 41 points and 22 rebounds for his high school career, with that scoring average still standing as the highest in Alabama high school history. After his legendary career, he committed to play at Gardner-Webb University. At a small school like Gardner-Webb, John immediately became the star player and put up the numbers to attract the attention of NBA decision makers. In 2 years, he averaged 25 points and 11 rebounds before declaring for the 1974 NBA draft at 20 years old. John would be selected in the second round, 25th overall by the Atlanta Hawks. He signed a 5-year contract worth $780,000 with a $40,000 signing bonus. In his first game on October 18th, 1974 against the Chicago Bulls, John scored 32 points along with 12 rebounds and 3 assists. As a rookie, John started 78 games, averaging 18 points and 11 rebounds, finishing second in Rookie of the Year voting behind Jamal Wilkes, as the Hawks finished 31-51, missing the playoffs. He was named to the All-Rookie First Team and also led the league in total offensive rebounds. His sophomore season showed more improvement offensively, with him averaging 22 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 steals on 50% shooting, finishing top 20 in MVP voting and becoming an All-Star for the first time, even though the Hawks finished 29-53 on the season. According to John himself, he started using cocaine in his 3rd season, although it didn't seem to impact his play, as over the next 6 seasons, he hovered around 20 points a game. In terms of team success, the furthest the Hawks went in the postseason was to the Eastern Conference semifinals in 1979, where they lost to the Washington Bullets in 7 games. John only averaged 15 points a game in this series, later blaming himself and his addiction for why they didn't win. John did make his second All-Star game in 1980, averaging 19 points and 6 rebounds on 45% shooting while still battling his habit. "I never played while I was high," he later said, "though I sometimes did perform under the effects of what I'd done the night before. I did a pretty good job of covering it up, learned all the tricks of the trade and lied to anyone." He also added, "I never did drugs to kill any bad feeling because I was hurt or because I had any problems. I did drugs because I liked them and they made me feel good." His last 2 years with the Hawks were pretty similar stats-wise, but more people around the league were becoming aware of his addiction. In 1982, John, along with his teammate Freeman Williams, were traded to the Utah Jazz for the 3rd pick in the 1983 draft, which would turn into Dominique Wilkins. Jazz head coach Frank Layden confronted John about his cocaine habit midway through the season and suggested that he get some help. John averaged 21 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists on 47% shooting in 44 games, missing 38 to attend a rehab center in Baltimore, Maryland. Upon his return next season, he was second in Comeback Player of the Year voting behind Paul Westphal of the Knicks. Unfortunately, he relapsed during the 1984-85 season and was waived by the Jazz. John finished his NBA career after 11 seasons, averaging 21 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists, along with 2 All-Star selections and a rookie first-team selection. After he was waived, John joined the Wyoming Wildcatters of the CBA, hoping to get a second chance in the NBA. He scored a franchise record 1,241 points in his first season, being named to the All-CBA First Team. In May 1985, John was arrested for passing bad checks, but he accepted a plea bargain for a suspended jail sentence and entrance into a mandatory drug rehab program. The Washington Bullets were interested in signing him, but due to his past history of substance abuse, the NBA prohibited them from doing so. In 1986, John became the first player to be banned by David Stern for multiple violations of the league's substance abuse policy. He was a free agent during this time, but the NBA considered his most recent rehab stint as a 3rd violation of the policy. John later said that the policy will keep guys from coming forward and admitting they still have a problem. After his banishment from the league, John fell out of the public eye for several years after being arrested for selling drugs to an undercover FBI agent. According to his son Keith, he rarely returned to Alabama after his NBA career, overcome with shame from being the first casualty of substance abuse policy. He even failed to attend his own Hall of Fame induction at his old high school due to the embarrassment. John passed away on April 10th, 2022 in Houston, Texas, at the age of 67, suffering from stage 4 bone cancer. Looking at the stats and looking at some of the footage I saw of him, he was a great player. He was an excellent player. He could rebound the ball well. He was a really good shooter for the time. And he was shooting out to the three-point line. He's still using cocaine and still giving you 20 points, 7 rebounds on 50% from the floor. Like, imagine what he would have done if he wasn't even using. And he's making all-star games while on drugs. I don't know. Like, it just amazes me, especially back in the 60s and 70s, how many people were able to do that. Like, I guess it's just how much of a top athlete you were. It seems like his suspension was set up for a lot of people getting suspended. It's a lot of people who actually have futures. And I mean, I understand what Stern did. I understand what David did, because you're the commissioner, you're trying to build the NBA, you're trying to build the popularity of the NBA. You have to bring the image back, because it's already a bad image, because it's all the guys are using drugs, they're all playing on drugs. You know, it's a bad image for the league. You gotta restore the league. I mean, I'm not mad at it. You get to a point where you're in a position where everyone wants your job. Like, people would kill to get your job, but yet you cannot stay clean. Thank you for watching. This is my first video on this channel. I really appreciate all you guys who come to my channel and watch this. Definitely look forward to dropping more content like this. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all you guys. Definitely hit that subscribe button, hit that like, man. This is Peasy Hoops, and I'm out. Peace.
Six forward, the Atlanta Hawks. Number 22, John Drew.
John Drew, he can get you 22 points out every night in his sleep.
Drew, what a shot. Drew had almost no room at all on that baseline.
And he had a mental toughness as far as scoring that I don't care how you got him, he always got him. He always found a way to do it.
Drew's 22-foot jumper on the way, that's good.
And Drew is able to convert. Glenn can't get a shot off. Here's John Drew.
John Drew was such a great player and a great friend. Drew was a great small forward who I love playing with.